Hello there, and welcome back to Sleep Lab Science. Tonight, we're going to wander into one of the most mysterious worlds on Earth. A world hidden beneath fallen leaves, beneath soft soil, beneath the quiet breathing of ancient forests. A world shaped not by roots or branches, but by threads tiny, glowing, whisper-thin threads of life. This is the secret universe of fungi. A place where mushrooms rise like silent lanterns after rain, where invisible networks stretch for miles beneath your feet, and where some of the planet's strangest, most magical life forms grow in the dark, hum softly through the soil, and quietly keep the world alive. If you've ever wondered why a single mushroom can appear overnight, how forests communicate, or why some fungi glow like gentle stars on the forest floor, then allow yourself to settle in. Because tonight, we're going to follow the slow, sleepy science of the fungal kingdom. Part I, a gentle introduction to the hidden kingdom of fungi. Tonight, as you settle into a calm and quiet space, allow your consciousness to soften, drifting like mist across a forest floor. In this stillness, we begin our journey, not upward to the stars, nor outward to distant galaxies, but inward into the quiet, shadowed, and often forgotten kingdom that lies beneath our very feet. The kingdom of fungi. Fungi are older than forests, older than flowers, older, even, than the towering creatures whose bones now rest deep beneath the earth. For more than 500 million years, fungi have shaped the world in ways both subtle and profound. But because they work quietly in darkness, in soil, in silence, they are often overlooked. Tonight, we will look closer. Imagine yourself standing in a peaceful woodland. The air is cool. A faint breeze rustles the canopy above. Beneath your feet lies a layer of soft, decomposing leaves. But beneath that, hidden from sight, lives the true engine of this ecosystem, a vast network of fungi, breathing softly in the soil. We forget them because we do not see them, but nature never forgets. Trees remember. Soil remembers. Life itself remembers. To understand fungi is to understand the secret circulatory system of Earth. Mushrooms, those delicate umbrellas of color, are merely the fleeting fruit of a much greater organism. They rise in response to rain, unfold like soft lanterns in the underbrush, and dissolve back into the earth. Their lifespan may be days, sometimes hours, but the being beneath them, the mycelium, may live for centuries. Fungi exist in the quiet spaces between life and death. When a tree falls, fungi soften it. When leaves drift down in autumn, fungi break them into soil. When organisms perish, fungi usher them gently back into the cycle of life. They are the recyclers, the renewers, the unseen custodians of biological balance. There is no forest without fungi, no soil without fungi. Even the air we breathe carries their spores, tiny floating travelers that ride wind currents across mountains, seas, and continents. In this opening chapter, think of fungi not as strange outsiders, but as familiar, gentle companions. They have always been here, supporting, sustaining, transforming. And now, slowly, we begin to notice them. Part 2. Mycelium, Earth's whispering underground network. Now that your breath has grown slow and steady, let us sink deeper beneath the fallen logs, beneath the cool, damp soil, into the hidden architecture that sustains the forest. Mycelium. The word feels almost like a spell, soft and winding, much like the threads it describes. Mycelium is the true body of fungi, a network of microscopic filaments called hyphae. These filaments branch, weave, and merge through the soil, forming a living tapestry beneath the forest floor. If mushrooms are the stars of the fungal world, mycelium is the galaxy they belong to. Imagine kneeling down in a quiet forest. You brush aside the leaves. Beneath them lies a pale, lace-like web, delicate, but stretching far beyond what your eyes can follow. It threads around rocks, embraces roots, infiltrates fallen wood, and continues outward into the darkness. This network does not sleep. It senses, it explores, it responds. Mycelium grows at its tips, moving with exquisite slowness toward areas rich in nutrients. Hyphae release enzymes that melt organic matter, softening wood, leaf litter, even the shells of insects, turning the world into digestible forms. It is external digestion, performed with patience. Nothing is rushed. Through this continuous work, mycelium keeps ecosystems alive. Without fungi breaking down debris, forests would choke beneath centuries of fallen matter. Nutrients would remain locked in dead material, unavailable to new life. But mycelium unlocks them atom by atom, molecule by molecule. There is something almost spiritual about this process, a quiet reminder that endings nourish beginnings. But mycelium does more than recycle. It communicates. When fungal hyphae connect with tree roots, they form intimate partnerships known as mycorrhizae. Through these connections, fungi deliver water, minerals, and nutrients to trees. In return, trees feed the fungi sugars created through photosynthesis. It is a trade so ancient that nearly all plant species rely on it. But something even more remarkable happens here. Through fungal networks, trees send messages, chemical signals that warn of drought, pests, or other threats. A tree under attack may alert its neighbors, who strengthen their defenses before the danger reaches them. The forest is not silent. It whispers through fungi. Scientists call this system the Wood Wide Web, but that name is almost too mechanical. It suggests cables and code, but the fungal network is softer than that, slower, almost organic in its thought-like patterns. A tree connects to another. A mother tree nourishes her seedlings. A dying tree releases its remaining nutrients into the network, gifting them to the living. Fungi are the intermediaries, the soft threads that pass messages, nutrients, and life from one being to another. In this way, mycelium acts as both circulatory system and neural network of the forest. While we sleep, this network works. While we wake, it still works. It has worked for millions of years. And tonight, for the first time in a long while, we see it clearly. Part 3. The astonishing diversity of mushrooms. Now we rise gently from the soil, emerging into the visible world of fungi, a world of shapes, colors, and textures so surreal that they seem born from dreams rather than nature. Because what we call a mushroom is simply the fruiting body of the fungus, the reproductive structure, designed to release spores into the world. And just as plants produce countless forms of flowers, fungi create countless forms of mushrooms. Some are delicate and translucent. Some glow in the dark. Some are deadly. Some can break through pavement. Some mimic coral, jelly, or even stars. Walk with me, slowly and quietly, through this forest of forms. Here, beneath a rotting log, you see turkey tail, with layers of blue, gold, and chestnut arranged like brushstrokes on a fan. These mushrooms are small, but their medicinal properties have been recognized for centuries. Nearby, nestled in moss, rises a cluster of tiny mycena, slender, bell-shaped mushrooms that shimmer like glass beads. On certain nights, some mycena species glow a gentle green, creating the soft, bioluminescent light of the forest after dark. A little deeper in the forest stands the iconic Amanita muscaria, the bright red mushroom with white spots, a figure of folklore, fairy tales, and ancient rituals. Beneath its whimsical appearance lies potent chemistry. Further along, we find the branching, antler-like structures of coral fungi, growing in hues of ivory, lavender, and gold. They look more like underwater reefs than woodland inhabitants. And there, emerging from a fallen tree, is lion's mane, cascading like a snowy waterfall of soft spines. It resembles the mane of a white lion frozen mid-roar, yet it moves with the gentleness of silk threads. Its cognitive benefits have been celebrated from ancient medicine to modern research. The diversity seems endless. Mushrooms shaped like cups, mushrooms shaped like shelves, mushrooms shaped like stars, mushrooms that bleed red latex, mushrooms that smell like coconut, mushrooms so tiny they fit on a pin, mushrooms large enough to sit under during rain. They come in blues, purples, yellows, oranges, whites, and luminous greens. Each is a moment brief, ephemeral, sensitive to the world's smallest shifts in moisture and temperature. A mushroom can exist for a single night, releasing millions of spores before dissolving in the morning sun. Their purpose is simple: spread life, continue the lineage, ensure that the vast mycelial network below continues to expand and thrive. And yet, their beauty is anything but simple. They feel like fleeting art exhibitions that last only a day, but leave an impression for a lifetime. As you breathe slowly, imagine a forest at dusk. Mushrooms glow softly beneath ferns. Dew catches the last light, and the fungal kingdom reveals itself not as something strange, but something quietly magical. And this is only the beginning. Part 4. The Night Lives of Mushrooms, Bioluminescence and Forest Glow. As evening settles gently across the landscape, the forest becomes a different world, softer, quieter, more deliberate in its movements. The last rays of sunset drift away, leaving behind a hushed dimness. The air cools, leaves still, shadows stretch into long, velvety ribbons, and in this deepening quiet, mushrooms begin to shine, not brightly, not urgently, but with a tender, breath-like glow subtle enough to miss if you rush, unmistakable if you linger. Tonight, we walk through the forest after dark, guided by the dim and ancient lanterns of bioluminescent fungi, a garden of quiet light. Bioluminescent mushrooms are not common. Out of more than 100,000 known fungal species, only a small handful glow, and yet, when they do, their light transforms the forest into a dream. Curving logs shimmer with ethereal streaks. Delicate caps glint like tiny stars scattered along the ground. Even the threads of mycelium can glow, weaving faint constellations beneath bark and leaves. The light is usually green, soft, cool, and serene, like moonlight gently exhaled through the forest floor. This phenomenon has a name: foxfire. For centuries, foxfire was considered magic, a sign of spirits, forest gods, or distant realms. Victorian naturalists wrote about it with wonder. Ancient peoples used glowing wood to guide themselves on moonless nights, calling it cold fire. But this glow is no illusion. It is chemistry ancient, patient chemistry perfected over millions of years. When certain fungi produce an enzyme called luciferase, and combine it with a molecule known as luciferin, in the presence of oxygen, they emit a gentle greenish light. It is similar to the chemistry of fireflies, but slower, steadier, as though the fungi prefer a calm glow over a flicker. The purpose of this glow? That's still a mystery. Some believe the light attracts insects that help disperse spores. Others say it warns predators. And some theories suggest the glow is simply a byproduct of fungal metabolism, a gentle luminescence with no purpose beyond its own existence. But there is something undeniably poetic about it. A mushroom that glows softly in the darkness feels like the forest whispering a secret. The mushrooms that glow in the dark. Let your mind drift with me through the quiet woods and imagine the species that light this nocturnal world. Mycena chlorophyllus, found in the humidity of subtropical forests, emits a cool green aura like distant starlight. Neonothopanus gardneri, discovered in Brazil, glows bright enough for travelers to spot from a distance. Omphallotus olerarius, also known as the jack-o'-lantern mushroom, shines faintly beneath its orange cap, outlining its gills like thin strokes of phosphorescent ink. And Armillaria malea, the honey fungus, sends pale light through its mycelial roots, illuminating dead wood with a ghostly shimmer. It is best seen on overcast nights when the moon hides and the forest hushes into deeper darkness. These mushrooms do not seek attention. They do not blaze or glow boldly. Instead, They prefer the language of subtlety, a glow you feel more than see, like a quiet presence that watches over the night. To observe a glowing mushroom is to see time slow down. Nothing rushes, nothing hurries. The light simply breathes in its own rhythm. The forest at night, a symphony of soft activity. Many imagine the forest sleeps at night, but it does not. It merely changes pace. Moss softens, roots drink, mycelium pulses with quiet activity beneath the soil. Under the cover of darkness, fungi work even more diligently, because moisture levels rise and temperatures drop, perfect conditions for growth and nourishment. Picture hyphae spreading under a fallen branch, a slow, steady movement, like the unfurling of an invisible fabric. Each tip advances a fraction of a millimeter at a time, sensing, digesting, expanding. This is when mushrooms prepare to fruit, when spores mature, when fungal colonies strengthen their grasp on wood, soil, or decaying leaves. The forest at night is a landscape of slow intention, and fungi are among its most patient workers, a dance between light and decay. Bioluminescent fungi often grow on decaying wood, but their glow makes decay look almost sacred. When you see a rotting log glowing in the darkness, its light blurring softly across the forest floor, it becomes clear that fungi do not simply break things down, they transform them. They take what has ended and make it luminous. They turn decline into beauty. They make death gentle. In this way, glowing fungi feel like the forest's way of honoring its own cycles. Light from decay, beauty from collapse, life from what has passed. It is a reminder that nothing in nature is ever wasted, only changed, only transitioned, only returned to a place where it can nourish what comes next. Ancient legends and human imagination. Humans have been enchanted by glowing fungi for centuries. In Japan, glowing mycena inspired stories of forest spirits who wandered at night. In Europe, foxfire was believed to be the lantern light of fairies. In ancient tribes of the Amazon, glowing mushrooms were used in rituals to guide the living through the realm of ancestors. Even today, people describe foxfire as a lantern with no flame, the sleeping light, or the glow of the patient world. We are drawn to it because it feels gentle, non-threatening, a light born of quietness. In a world filled with artificial brightness, the soft glow of fungi feels like a whisper, a reminder that nature can illuminate without noise, without heat, without urgency. A slow, gentle fade toward dawn. As we close this chapter, imagine walking through a forest trail at night. The air is still. Crickets sing softly in the distance. The ground beneath your feet glows faintly with scattered points of green light mushrooms breathing out their cool luminescence. They will glow until dawn comes, and when the sun returns, they will fade into invisibility once more. Their glow is not meant for the day. It is meant for the quiet hours, for the moments when the world slows down and grows contemplative, just like us. Part 5. The strange language of mycelium. Settle in once more. Let your breath fall into a slow, even rhythm, and imagine that beneath the forest floor, a soft and silent network is waking up, not with noise, not with movement, but with communication. Tonight, we sink deeper into the unseen world of mycelium, the delicate white threads of fungal life that weave under our feet like an ancient whispering web. If the fruiting bodies, the mushrooms, are the brief flickers of light in this kingdom, then mycelium is the deep ocean beneath, stretching through soil, roots, and stones like a living map. As you settle into the darkness, picture each filament tiny, pale, hair-thin, touching another, then another, branching and connecting in slow, measured breaths. They don't speak with sound, but with pulses, with chemistry, with the quiet intelligence of life that has been evolving for more than 1 billion years. Scientists sometimes call this network the Wood Wide Web, a playful name for something far more profound. Mycelium passes nutrients. It passes warnings. It passes small molecular signals that trees and plants seem to understand. A spruce tree attacked by insects can send a message through mycelium to nearby firs, helping them prepare defenses. A sapling struggling for sunlight receives extra carbon through the fungal network from an older, stronger tree, almost as if the forest itself feels protective. But the forest is not sentimental. It is balanced. It is interconnected. And the mycelial web is the thread holding that tapestry together. Now imagine pressing your hand gently against the moss-covered ground. Beneath your palm, kilometers of fungal threads may be flowing. If you could hear them, if your ears could tune to their frequency, you might detect faint electrical oscillations, tiny rhythmic waves that pulse like the whisper of a heartbeat. Some researchers believe these rhythmic patterns might resemble a form of primitive communication, not language as we know it, but something older, simpler, perhaps a way of coordinating life silently across time. As you breathe out, imagine your exhale drifting into the earth, into the cool soil, brushing the slow pulse of the mycelium. It is patient. It has no hurry. Fungi have waited through ice ages, through mass extinctions, through the fall and rise of forests. And in the dark, in the quiet, it remembers. Let that image settle in your mind like soft moonlight on the forest floor. And without rushing, we drift onward, part 5 mushrooms that glow in the dark. Tonight, we step deeper into the calm of the nighttime forest, into a world where small lights flicker among the fallen leaves. Not stars, not fireflies, but mushrooms. Bioluminescent fungi, over 80 species known so far, glow with a soft green-blue radiance, like tiny constellations resting on the forest floor. As you breathe slowly and gently, picture the forest darkening around you until the glow of the mushrooms becomes the only guide for your eyes. Their light is steady, patient, and strangely comforting. Some glow faintly like distant lanterns, others shine brighter, painting the bark of rotting logs with ghostly illumination. Why do they glow? The forest doesn't explain itself easily, but scientists have found clues. The glow seems to help fungi attract insects, tiny night wanderers who unknowingly carry spores across the forest. Like lighthouses calling out to drifting ships, bioluminescent fungi invite the forest's nocturnal travelers. And in return, the insects help the fungi spread, continuing a cycle that has lasted for thousands, maybe millions, of nights. The chemistry behind this glow is gentle, elegant, involving luciferin, luciferase, and oxygen, in a dance of molecules that produces cold light. Cold, meaning it gives off no heat at all. It is light made purely for visibility, not warmth. Now imagine walking slowly through a humid forest after rain. The soil is rich, the air thick with the smell of earth, and along a fallen tree, small caps glow like emerald embers. Their edges shimmer faintly, as if each one is breathing. Try focusing on your own breath. In, soft, and slow. Out, even softer. As you breathe, imagine the mushrooms glowing brighter, their light expanding into a dreamy green haze. It isn't enough to read by, but enough to feel surrounded by gentle life. Some indigenous cultures once used glowing fungi as natural lanterns. Others saw them as forest spirits, signs of wandering ancestors, or messages from the underworld. Now, scientists see them as marvels of biochemistry, a natural technology perfected long before humans learned to make artificial light. Let your mind rest in this gentle glow, this quiet illumination, this tiny miracle in the dark of the forest. Mycelium feeds them, the forest nourishes them, and their soft radiance returns the favor, drawing insects that help new mushrooms rise. In the glow, in the silence, we drift forward again. Part 7: Fungi as nature's great recyclers. If you listen closely, not with your ears but with your imagination, you can almost hear the slow, deliberate rhythm of decay. Not a harsh word, not destruction, but transformation. In this part of our journey, we explore fungi as the master recyclers of the planet, the quiet workers who break down the old to make space for the new. Picture a fallen log, its bark softened by rain, its inside hollowing, relaxing into the soil. All around it, mushrooms rise like small flags announcing that the recycling process has begun. Beneath these mushrooms, hidden from view, mycelium spreads through the wood like delicate threads of time. It releases enzymes, slow, patient, powerful enzymes that dissolve tough plant materials. Lignin, cellulose, fibers that even many animals cannot digest. As fungi break these down, nutrients return to the soil, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus elements that once built a tree now become the building blocks for seedlings, mosses, and new fungal lives. It is a cycle as old as Earth's forests. Take a slow breath and imagine the tree not dying, but returning, not ending, simply changing form. Every handful of soil you've ever touched was shaped by fungi. Every forest that grows owes its fertility to these quiet recyclers. Even the oxygen you breathe produced by plants that depend on rich soil is a gift indirectly given by fungi. Some species specialize in leaf litter, others prefer dead insects. Some break down bones. A few can even digest oil, plastics, and toxic chemicals. In a way, fungi are the custodians of the natural world, sweeping quietly, cleaning slowly, maintaining balance without complaint or credit. And as the log softens, as the forest floor becomes richer, as new shoots rise through the returned nutrients, the cycle repeats. Quietly, softly, invisibly, let yourself sink into that rhythm, the rhythm of renewal, of endings that are not truly endings, of nature recycling itself in gentle, perpetual motion. And when you're ready, we will drift onward again. Part C. The hidden kingdom beneath the soil. As the night deepens and the forest grows quieter, we turn our attention to a place we rarely see, yet walk across every day. A world beneath the soil, dark, moist, and alive with quiet motion. The fungal kingdom thrives here, in stillness and shadow, not in the bright canopy above, but in the deep layers below where roots twist, where old leaves become soft, and where mycelium winds endlessly through grains of earth. Take a slow breath in, hold it gently, and allow yourself to sink, in your imagination, just a few inches beneath the forest floor. Down here, the air is cooler, the world is quieter, and fungal life is everywhere. Tiny filaments stretch like pale rivers, curving around pebbles, slipping between root hairs, and forming vast networks that can span meters, or, in rare cases, entire forests. Scientists once discovered a single fungal organism in Oregon that covered over 2,000 acres, perhaps the largest living thing on the planet. Yet it hides beneath the soil, quiet and unnoticed. Here, in the darkness, fungal spores awaken. Some drifted into the soil months ago, others years, others perhaps centuries. A spore can wait an impossibly long time for the right conditions, moisture, warmth, nourishment, and then awaken with slow determination. Once it begins, the transformation is almost gentle. A spore swells, splits, and sends out the first hypha, a thin thread of life feeling its way through the unseen world. Imagine that moment, the soft beginning of a journey. A single thread becomes two become many, and eventually, the mycelial web grows dense enough to change the soil itself. Fungi soften harsh earth. They break down minerals. They convert dead leaves into nutrients and hold moisture like tiny sponges. Without fungi, soil would lose its richness, its texture, its ability to support forests at all. Every step you take through a forest is supported by fungal architecture. Every handful of rich earth carries the work of unseen mycelium. Every root of every tree depends on fungal allies below the surface. Some of these relationships are incredibly intimate. Mycorrhizal fungi, partners of plants, wrap around roots or even fuse into them, allowing the exchange of nutrients with remarkable precision. The fungus provides water and minerals, The plant provides sugars made from sunlight. It is a quiet handshake, repeated billions of times across the planet every moment. As you breathe out softly, imagine these connections glowing faintly beneath the soil, tiny points of light forming a lacework of cooperation, unseen but essential. The hidden kingdom below holds the memory of forests long gone and the potential for forests yet to come. It is patient, it is ancient, and it works in the cool, comforting silence that cradles life itself. Let that image rest softly in your mind, and allow yourself to drift gently, like a falling leaf, into the next part of our journey. Part IX, the oldest partners, fungi and plants, through deep time. Tonight, we shift our gaze from the soft ground beneath us to the expanse of deep time millions upon millions of years ago, when Earth was young, barren, and far quieter than today. Picture a world without forests, without grass, without flowers, a world where the land was just rock, sand, and wind. And then slowly, gently, life began to step out of the water. Plants wanted to grow on land, but they couldn't, not alone. The soil lacked nutrients, the ground was harsh, and plants had not yet evolved the complex roots needed to survive in such a difficult world. But fungi were already there, waiting. They had lived on land long before plants, exploring rocks, breaking down minerals, crafting the first primitive soils. And so, more than 450 million years ago, something extraordinary happened. Fungi and plants formed one of the most important partnerships in the history of life. This was not a loud event. It left no dramatic fossils, no sudden changes in the sky. It was quiet, a chemical handshake, a slow exchange of nutrients, a mutual recognition. Plants offered carbohydrates, fungi offered minerals and water, and together they became stronger. With fungal help, the first land plants spread across the continents like soft green carpets. They grew taller, they developed roots, they reached for sunlight, and eventually, they created forests, lush, breathing, oxygen-producing forests, the kind we know today. Take a slow breath now, fill your lungs gently, and imagine the earth taking its first deep breath in ages past, as forests expanded and oxygen filled the atmosphere. Even now, after hundreds of millions of years, nearly all plants still depend on fungi. More than 90% of plant species form mycorrhizal partnerships. Without them, hunger would spread through the plant kingdom, forests would wither, grasslands would shrink. Even the food we grow today, wheat, corn, rice, vegetables, all rely on these ancient fungal partners to thrive. This partnership is so deep, so ancient, so essential, that some scientists believe plants never truly stopped being partly fungal. As you relax deeper into your breath, you can almost imagine the roots of the forest shimmering with subtle fungal threads, just like they did in the earliest days of life on land. Past and present overlap, ancient and modern entwine. Fungi and plants continue their soft partnership, a quiet cooperation older than any animal life on the planet. Let that sense of ancient continuity settle over you like the warm weight of a blanket as we drift gently toward one of the most delicate parts of this story. Part X, the secret life of spores. Tonight, we look at something almost invisible, yet powerful enough to shape entire ecosystems. The tiny, drifting, dust-like particles known as spores. Spores are the seeds of the fungal world, but they are far more patient, far more resilient, and far more mysterious. They carry within them the blueprint of an organism that may one day stretch across a forest, or glow on a log, or recycle an entire fallen tree. Take a slow, deep breath and imagine a single mushroom releasing a cloud of spores into the quiet air. The release is gentle, almost silent. A soft puff, a shimmer, a moment that lasts only seconds, yet sends thousands, sometimes millions of spores drifting into the world. Some float on a breeze, some travel on insects, Some fall onto moss and disappear into the soil. Some will drift for days, weeks, or years before finding a place to grow. Many will never awaken, but some, a small, lucky few, will land where conditions are perfect, where there is moisture, food, warmth, and shelter. There, in the quiet darkness, the spore stirs. It swells, absorbs water, and splits open. A small hypha emerges, no thicker than a strand of hair, reaching into the unknown. Imagine this moment happening billions of times across the world. On logs, in soil, on leaves, inside caves, across deserts, even miles underwater. Spores do not fear environments. Some can survive freezing, others withstand scorching heat. Some endure radiation that would kill any animal. They are persistence made physical, patience given form. But despite their resilience, spores are incredibly delicate in appearance. Under a microscope, they resemble tiny sculptures, spheres, ovals, stars, spikes, ridged shells, or crystalline bodies. Each species designs its spores with remarkable care, as if preparing them for a long journey. Some mushrooms create spores that cling to beetles. Others craft spores that float like tiny balloons. A few produce spores sticky enough to ride under the wings of flies. As you exhale slowly, imagine the forest filled with billions of spores drifting silently through the air, a constant snowfall that never touches the ground all at once. And when a spore finds its home, the transformation begins again. Life from stillness, growth from quiet beginnings, an entire organism from a particle smaller than a grain of dust. This is the secret life of spores, the heartbeat of the fungal world, faint yet continuous, like a whispered promise carried on the wind. Let that soft, drifting image stay with you as we prepare to descend further into the wonders of the fungal kingdom in the next parts. Part XI: How fungi transform the forest from within. As we continue our quiet walk through the world of fungi, the forest around us grows softer, darker, and more welcoming. The trees stand like gentle guardians, their trunks silvered by moonlight. The air is cool. The earth beneath your feet is soft, thanks to countless years of fungal work. Tonight, we explore how fungi reshape the forest from the inside out. Take a slow breath, let it settle, and allow yourself to imagine the forest not as something static, but as something continually renewed, rebuilt, softened, and reshaped by fungal life. If you look closely, every fallen branch, every piece of bark, every drifting leaf is in a slow transition. Nothing in a forest is wasted. Nothing sits untouched for long. Fungi are always at work, quietly breaking things down, dissolving, softening, transforming. But they don't only recycle what has died, they also shape what is still alive. Deep beneath the forest floor, mycorrhizal fungi wrap around tree roots like delicate gloves. They extend the reach of those roots by meters or yards, tapping into hidden pockets of water or minerals that trees could never access on their own. A pine tree growing on dry, sandy soil might struggle, but with fungal partners, it thrives. A tiny sapling in the shade might starve, but nearby trees, through fungal threads, may share nutrients with it. This sharing doesn't always look compassionate. It is simply the forest's natural economy, driven by chemistry, opportunity, and balance. Yet the result feels almost magical. One tree's abundance, quietly reinforcing another's hunger. Even the shapes of forests, dense here, sparse there, reflect fungal influence. Some fungi encourage their tree partners to grow wider or taller. Others help them resist pests or disease. And some aggressively compete beneath the soil, creating invisible boundaries that trees obey without ever knowing why. The forest we see above is shaped by battles and alliances below. Slow, chemical, silent. Now picture a fallen log. Its wood dark, its edges soft, its inside beginning to crumble. Rainwater sinks into it, moss drapes across it, and within the log's fading core, Fungal threads weave in and out like pale strands of memory. As fungi digest the wood, they change its texture. Hard becomes sponge-like, dry becomes moist, stable becomes hollow. And here is where the transformation becomes magic. These softened logs become homes for insects, for salamanders, for snails, for tiny mammals, for seedlings that sprout from their surface like hopeful sparks. A forest is not built by trees alone. It is built by fungi too, shaping soil, carving spaces, releasing nutrients, creating environments that other species depend on. If you could see it in slow motion time, you'd witness a symphony: logs decaying, soil thickening, roots weaving, fungi pulsing, animals sheltering, every step connected. Let yourself sink into that thought. The forest is alive because fungi continually remake it. Each breath you take contains oxygen made possible by a forest, and every forest owes its life to the quiet, patient work of fungi. Let the forest hold you for a moment, soft, silent, reshaping itself under the soft pull of fungal threads. And when you're ready, we drift to the next chapter. Part 12: Cordyceps, the strange and hypnotic puppet masters. Tonight, we enter one of the most mysterious corners of the fungal world, a place where biology meets something eerie, ancient, and strangely beautiful. We're talking about cordyceps, the fungi that live inside insects and guide them, gently but irresistibly, toward transformation. Take a slow breath in, let it out softly, and prepare to explore something that sounds frightening, but reveals deeper truths about the extraordinary adaptability of fungi. Cordyceps begin as spores, tiny, weightless, drifting through the forest air. An ant, or a caterpillar, or a beetle might unknowingly walk through a cloud of them. One spore lands on its exoskeleton, another perhaps lands on its antenna. Underneath that tiny shell of armor, warmth and moisture invite the spore to awaken. And so it does. It grows slowly, oh so slowly, like a whisper inside the insect. Thread by thread, it spreads, forming hyphae that wind through the creature's body. But here is where it becomes strangely mesmerizing. Cordyceps do not immediately harm their hosts. Instead, they guide them. An infected ant might begin to wander away from its colony. Not frantically, not chaotically, but in a slow, deliberate path, as though drawn by an unseen compass. Researchers believe the fungus gently alters the ant's sense of direction, its muscles, its instincts nudging it toward a place with perfect humidity, perfect light, perfect temperature, a place ideal for the fungus, not the ant. Once the ant settles, usually biting onto a leaf or twig, the fungus begins its final act. Hyphae strengthen. Inside the ant's body, the fungus grows upward, toward the air, toward the sun. And then, a slender stalk emerges from the ant's head. Dark, quiet, patient. This stalk releases new spores. Thousands, millions. A snow of microscopic particles drifting down to the forest floor, ready to begin the cycle again. Take a moment to breathe. Softly, slowly. Let the story settle, not as something horrific, but as a window into nature's astonishing complexity. Cordyceps do not act out of cruelty. They are simply fulfilling their role, recycling, balancing insect populations, participating in the endless give and take of ecosystems. And even here, in this strange dance between insect and fungus, the forest remains harmonious. Cordyceps outbreaks can shape insect communities, which affects leaf litter, which affects soil, which affects the trees, which affects the sunlight filtering through the canopy above you now. Everything is connected. Even the strangest, most alien corners of the fungal world play their part in the larger rhythm of life. Let yourself drift in that understanding, that even the eerie can be natural, that even the strange has a place. As we move to a gentler, more luminous topic next. Part 13. Lichens. The quiet love story between fungi and algae. As we settle deeper into this series, let's turn our attention to something soft, subtle, and surprisingly tender. A partnership unlike any other in the natural world. Tonight, we explore lichens, the beautiful fusion of fungi and algae, living as one. Imagine walking through a quiet forest at dawn. The rocks are cool, the bark of old trees is rough beneath your hand, and everywhere you look, soft patches of green, blue, yellow, or gray cling to surfaces like small, patient galaxies. These are lichens, not plants, not moss, not singular organisms at all, but collaborations, intimate, enduring collaborations between a fungus and a photosynthetic partner, often an alga or cyanobacterium. Take a gentle breath, hold it softly, and imagine this delicate partnership forming. The fungus provides structure, a protective body, shaped like lace, crust, or leafy ruffles. The algae provide nourishment, tiny suns inside the lichen, creating sugars from light. Together, they become something neither could be alone. They cling to tree trunks, where sunlight filters softly. They settle on old stone walls, where no root could survive. They paint cliffs, rooftops, and ancient ruins with colors that seem to come from a dream. Some lichens form slowly, impossibly slowly. A lichen the size of your palm might be centuries old, growing only a millimeter a year. They endure drought, freezing, flooding, and radiation that would kill almost any other life form. They were among the first organisms to colonize bare rock after volcanic eruptions. They helped create the first soils on Earth long before forests existed. They turned stone into life. Picture a rock face high in the mountains. Harsh winds whip across it. Temperatures plunge at night. Yet the rock is alive with patches of lichen, tiny islands of cooperation, thriving in conditions where almost nothing else can. In the Arctic, lichens feed caribou. In deserts, they trap moisture. In rainforests, they filter air so efficiently that scientists use them to measure pollution. Think of that, a tiny composite organism acting as the lungs of whole ecosystems. Now, as you breathe out, imagine each breath carrying a bit of lichen's calm endurance. Steady, resilient, older than memory, yet always quietly renewing itself. Lichens remind us that survival does not always come from strength or speed. Sometimes, it comes from partnership, from connection, from sharing life in a way that softens the world around you. And with that gentle thought, we drift onward once again, deeper into the fungal kingdom. Part XIV, the gentle breaths of fungi. In a quiet forest, where sunlight melts into faint ribbons under the leaves, there are beings almost invisible to the eye, softly weaving life together. They are fungi, silent workers, endlessly patient, never asking to be seen. If you listen closely, you might imagine their whispers, soft as drifting mist, light as a nighttime breath. Beneath the cool, damp soil, long threads of fungal hyphae stretch like delicate strands of hair, connecting everything to everything else. They share nutrients, exchange signals, and help distant trees speak to one another in a secret language of minerals and enzymes. And here, as your body settles and your breathing slows, you might feel yourself connecting too, gently, effortlessly, drifting into quiet. Part XV, the fifth kingdom of life. When we think of the kingdoms of life, most of us imagine animals and plants. But fungi, the kingdom, fungi, stand in a world of their own. They are not plants, not animals, and not quite anything in between. Fungi absorb nourishment by dissolving the world around them. Each fallen leaf, each softened tree trunk, each forgotten piece of wood resting in the forest's darkness. Because of them, nature's cycle of decay and renewal continues, unhurried and unending. And strangely, when you gaze at a small mushroom rising from the dark earth, you may notice a deep, quiet rhythm, slow, steady, and soothing enough to loosen the last knots of your day. Let that rhythm guide you, a little deeper, into gentle relaxation. Part 6e soft lights growing out of darkness. Some fungi possess the delicate ability to glow. A pale green light, cool and faint, like a quiet breath drifting through the night. This phenomenon, bioluminescence, is believed to attract insects that help spread fungal spores. But for anyone who stumbles upon it in a nighttime forest, the glow feels like a greeting from another world. Small, shimmering, and full of wonder. Imagine walking beneath the trees at night. No hurry, no noise, only the gentle sparkle of mushrooms glowing at the base of fallen logs. Each little light offers a soft invitation. Slow down, let your eyes rest, feel the calm rising within you. As you allow that feeling to settle, your thoughts begin to fade like thinning fog, leaving behind nothing but the peaceful drift toward sleep. Part XVI. The secret architecture beneath the forest. Beneath every forest, under every meadow, and even beneath your feet in a quiet city park, there lies an unseen architecture, an intricate silken network woven patiently by fungi over millions of years. To step onto a piece of earth is to step onto something living, breathing, listening. Imagine sinking slowly into that hidden world, as if drifting downward through layers of soft soil. The sound of the surface fades. Your thoughts begin to quiet, and the world below begins to glow. Down here, the air feels cool and still, filled with the faint scent of humus, dark, nourishing earth formed from countless cycles of life dissolving and returning again. Strands of fungal hyphae stretch in every direction, thin as spider silk, pale as moonlight, forming rivers of white lines beneath the ground. These threads are not random. They follow purpose. They sense moisture. They detect food. They avoid danger. And they do it all without a brain, without a central control system, guided by a kind of distributed intelligence that moves slowly, yet steadily, through the soil. This network, called mycelium, branches like the capillaries of a vast creature. It creeps around stones, curls around plant roots, and extends into microscopic spaces where no animal or plant root could ever reach. Wherever nutrients exist, the mycelium finds them. A tiny particle of wood, a fallen pine needle, a fragment of leaf. Every time a hyphae touches something edible, a quiet chemical conversation begins. Enzymes seep out like sighs, dissolving matter into molecules soft enough to drink. The forest's dead becomes the forest's nourishment, and all of it flows gently through the fungal veins toward places in need. Trees rely on this hidden architecture, not in a casual or occasional way, but intimately, as deeply as a newborn relies on breath. When a tree is young, its roots are thin and fragile. They cannot reach far. They cannot gather much, but the mycelium can. So the young tree offers a gift, sugars made from sunlight. In return, the fungus shares minerals, water, and protection. It is a quiet exchange, a peaceful pact, a soft whisper between two species promising to care for one another. As you continue drifting through this underground world, you might notice how everything seems connected, not metaphorically, but literally. Hyphae touch roots, roots touch hyphae, hyphae touch other hyphae, and the whole forest becomes a single woven being, breathing slowly in the dark. Even fallen trees, once towering above the soil, remain part of this architecture. Their trunks soften, their bark loosens. The fungi enter silently through tiny cracks, not destroying, but transforming. What was rigid becomes tender. What was solid becomes soil. And the cycle continues, patiently, perfectly, without a moment of hurry. Deep in this underground quiet, you may feel your own breath aligning with the slow rhythm of nature's architecture. Steady, gentle, unforced. Like the mycelium, your thoughts begin to spread softly, loosening, unraveling, melting into comfort. As you rise back toward the surface, carrying the memory of that hidden world with you, you might sense that the earth beneath you is not still at all. It is alive, awake, and endlessly weaving the soft tapestry of life. Part 18. The wild medicines of fungi. Long before humans learned to write, long before we built cities, or mapped constellations in the sky, we learned something quiet and powerful from the forests, that fungi could heal. Tonight, let's drift into the gentle history of fungal medicine, a history whispered in old forests, carried in ancient traditions, and rediscovered by scientists in quiet laboratories lit by soft blue lights. Imagine yourself resting beside a mossy log, the ground cool beneath your hands, the air filled with the earthy scent of rain-soaked leaves. Around you, countless fungi are at work, some healing the soil, some protecting plants, some crafting chemicals remarkable enough to help humans too. One of the most famous gifts from fungi began, like many discoveries, with a simple moment of observation, a mold growing on an old laboratory plate, a pale blue-green circle with a halo around it where bacteria refused to grow. That mold was penicillium, and its quiet refusal to share space with bacteria led to penicillin, the medicine that changed the course of human history. Millions of lives were saved, because a fungus created a gentle shield against infection. But fungi offer more than antibiotics. Some build compounds that calm inflammation, some support the immune system, some protect cells from stress, some even soothe the mind. Take reishi, the mushroom of immortality in old Chinese traditions, with its deep red, glossy surface that looks as if it were carved from lacquered wood. People brewed it into teas, believing it brought balance, longevity, and a deep, settling calm. Today, scientists study its complex molecules, polysaccharides, triterpenes, confirming that the old stories held a quiet truth. Then there is lion's mane, soft and white, like cascading icicles of silk. For centuries, monks drank lion's mane tea to improve focus during meditation. Now, researchers study how it may support nerve growth and cognitive clarity. Its threads resemble the flowing networks inside our brains. A coincidence perhaps, but a beautiful one. In forests, another healer grows silently on birch trees. Chaga. From the outside, it looks like a burnt chunk of wood, but inside, it is golden and warm, rich with antioxidants formed as the fungus protects its host tree. When brewed into a dark drink, its earthy warmth feels like liquid sunlight. Even fungi less famous for healing lend subtle gifts. Turkey tail, with its soft fans of blue, brown, and cream, supports immunity with layers of naturally occurring compounds. Cordyceps, growing high in misty mountains, was used by herders to increase stamina in the thin, cold air. And then, there are the mushrooms that heal by helping us dream, not with chemicals, but with their presence. The calm of watching a mushroom emerge slowly from soil, the peace of observing its cap unfurl like a soft umbrella, the quiet lesson it teaches that everything takes the time it needs, and nothing in nature ever rushes. As you lie quietly with these thoughts, your body may feel heavier, warmer, more relaxed. The world of fungal medicine is not only science, it is a gentle reminder that healing can be slow, steady, and deeply rooted in nature's patience. Let yourself sink into that patience. Like a mycelial web gathering nutrients in the dark, you gather rest. Slowly, quietly, with no need to hurry. Part XIX. The mushroom that thinks without a brain. Among the most mysterious members of the fungal world are the slime molds. Strange, shape-shifting organisms that drift somewhere between fungi, amoebas, and something entirely their own. They do not think. They have no neurons. Yet somehow, they solve puzzles. Tonight, we explore one of the quietest enigmas in nature. Intelligence without a brain. Imagine a yellow, branching organism spreading across a piece of damp wood. It looks like paint spilled in slow motion. Bright, soft, shimmering. This is Physarum Polycephalum, a slime mold beloved by biologists like a gentle, slow-moving pet. When Physarum explores, it stretches out delicate veins, thin, glowing pathways that branch and merge like rivers of light. These veins search for food, feel obstacles, and map the safest, most efficient routes. In laboratories, Physarum has performed feats that seem almost playful. It can recreate railway networks simply by growing toward food placed on maps of cities. It can solve mazes without eyes. It can remember where it has already traveled, even though it has no memory center. When placed in stressful conditions, it learns to ignore harmless irritants, a primitive form of habituation. Scientists still debate what this means. Is it intelligence? Is it instinct? Is it something entirely new? Whatever it is quiet, it is slow, and it is deeply soothing to watch. Picture the slime mold resting in the dark, breathing in its strange, gentle way. Its veins pulse rhythmically, a slow contraction, a soft release, a forest heartbeat, a bedtime heartbeat. While animals rely on speed and plants rely on sunlight, slime molds rely on patience. Without rushing, without thinking, they find their way. Their wisdom is not loud or bright. It is not competitive. It is not urgent. It is simply persistent. The wisdom of something that has survived on Earth for hundreds of millions of years. As you imagine its slow golden branches stretching out into the night, you may feel your own thoughts branching more softly, your breathing lengthening, your shoulders melting into rest. Nature, at its quietest, reminds us that intelligence doesn't always look like thought. Sometimes it looks like stillness. Sometimes it looks like glowing veins on a fallen log. Sometimes it looks like taking your time to settle, to breathe, to rest. Let yourself rest now, slow and gentle, just like the organisms that do their thinking in silence. Part XX, the endless patience of fungal time. If you sit quietly in a forest long enough for the light to shift, long enough for the evening breeze to soften into stillness, you might begin to notice a different kind of time. Not the time kept by clocks, or the time measured in alarms and schedules, but a deeper, older rhythm. The kind of time that fungi understand. Fungi do not rush. They do not chase daylight. They do not worry about missing their moment. Instead, they wait. They wait for rainfall. They wait for the forest floor to soften. They wait for a fallen tree to age into something tender enough to enter and transform. This patience is not passive. It is attentive, alive, quietly alert. The mycelium beneath the soil listens to vibrations. Tiny tremors from footsteps, from roots expanding, from insects moving in the dark. Hyphae react, not in seconds, but in hours, days, months, even years. Some fungi take a decade before they send a mushroom to the surface. Others may wait 50 years before rising from the roots of an ancient tree. Some, like certain desert fungi, wait more than a century, sleeping through drought and heat, until the exact right moment arrives. Imagine living that way, not hurrying toward every decision, but unfolding when conditions are truly right. A rhythm so slow, so unburdened, that it begins to feel like rest itself. As rain begins to fall in the forest, soft and rhythmic like the world breathing, the patient network below the surface wakes. Drops seep into the soil, moisture spreads across leaf litter, and far beneath your feet, the hyphae begin to pulse, as if sighing in relief. The pulse is almost impossible to detect, yet it carries life forward. Water rushing gently through microscopic tubes, nutrients drifting like soft clouds of minerals, signals traveling outward to distant roots, quiet messages of, now, it is time. Above the soil, tiny white domes begin to push upward. At first, they are no more than a bump beneath the leaves, round, pale, unassuming. But slowly, they expand. Their caps unfurl like umbrellas made of moonlight. Their stems rise with the softness of a waking breath, and in just a few hours, after years of waiting, a mushroom stands fully formed, peaceful, complete, bathed in the cool glow of the forest's nighttime stillness. Fungal time is a reminder that nothing in nature is meant to be constant movement. The forest grows, rests, waits, then grows again. Even the stars take thousands of years to shift in the sky. Even mountains rise and fall in slow-motion arcs. And beneath it all, fungi guide the pace, breaking down what has ended, so that something new may begin. This patience shapes ecosystems. A fallen tree will not disappear in a season, but with fungi working slowly, quietly, every fiber becomes nourishment, for moss, for insects, for seedlings, for future forests. Fungi do not force change. They simply invite it, enzyme by enzyme, night by night. Movement so gradual, you can almost feel your own breathing slowing to match it. And as you imagine this slow unfolding, you may feel your thoughts loosening, your mind sinking into a gentler pace. A pace where nothing is rushed, and everything has time to soften, just like a spore drifting on the air. Weightless, unhurried, you let yourself drift too, floating on the calm night air of the forest. No destination, no urgency, only the soft comfort of stillness. Fungi teach us that life is not always about striving upward. Sometimes it is about spreading quietly, deepening connections, waiting for nourishment, and rising only when it feels right. And in that lesson, there is a serenity as deep as the forest floor, inviting you now to rest softly as the world continues its slow, patient work around you. Final conclusion, a gentle farewell to the kingdom of fungi. And now, as our long, quiet journey through the world of fungi draws to a close, you might notice a subtle warmth settling in your chest, the feeling of having wandered through a realm both ancient and intimate. We have traveled through glowing forests and intricate mycelial webs. We have watched mushrooms rise in moonlit silence, felt the pulse of underground networks, and listened to the delicate wisdom of organisms that thrive without haste. Fungi, in their quiet way, show us that everything is connected, trees to soil, soil to roots, roots to networks, networks to life itself. They remind us that the world moves in cycles, never rushing, never forcing, always unfolding in its own time. And perhaps, as you settle deeper into your own quiet now, you carry a piece of that fungal patience with you, a sense that it's perfectly okay to move slowly, to rest deeply, to wait for your own right moments. Thank you for drifting through this soft world of fungi, for walking the gentle pathways beneath the forest floor, and for allowing yourself to breathe a little deeper, a little slower, a little softer. Whenever you wish to return, the kingdom of fungi will be waiting, still, peaceful, and endlessly patient. Let your thoughts settle, your breathing soften, your body sink into calm, and may your rest be as quiet and as timeless as the mycelial world beneath our feet.